Ooh, well. The topic is relationships between men and women. In particular, this concept presented by a spiritual teacher and a successful businessman named Aubrey Marcus, who had a podcast in the last, 3 weeks or so, talking about his relationship with a woman that he's been connected to. I think it's his wife, not 100%, but his long-term female partner, and then a younger lady who he's invited into that connection more recently. He's presented the idea of radical monogamy, as in new monogamy, but it's a little silly. It's a bit of an affront, you might say, to the word itself, monogamous. Mono meaning one, gamos meaning marriage, I think, committed connection. Now there are different shades of it, I suppose, to a certain degree. Where those boundaries lie are a bit different from person to person. Would a threesome violate monogamy if a monogamous couple invited another person into their bedroom, as long as both parties were present? For some people, no. Or maybe that's a brief venture outside of the boundaries of monogamy, but still acceptable within a monogamous relationship. And this is a tough one that a lot of people violate if it's considered to be a boundary, is something like pornography. Engaging in pornography, masturbating to pornography. Is that a violation of monogamy? Flirting with someone on social media, is that a violation of monogamy? Watching and interacting with somebody who's recording themselves live, trying to get viewers and attention, pretending to be a sexual partner or even a girlfriend. So long as there's no physical contact, is that a violation of monogamy? I don't know. But the basic concept of monogamy is one human being connected to another human being exclusively, without engaging in sexual activity with anyone else. And it's the most stable and supreme way that human beings connect. So Aubrey Marcus is trying to essentially rebrand polyamory, poly meaning many, amory meaning love, polygamos, polygamous, right? That's a word that has become a dirty word, even though technically polygamos just means many marriages or many partners in a marriage, that kind of connection. It's typically associated with a man having multiple wives, but even that's a very old practice. And Aubrey Marcus is trying to make it this new form where, of relationship where he's connected to two women. He wants to eventually impregnate them. He was called by the goddess Isis to impregnate these two women, and he wants them to make that compromise for him because he has that appetite, he has that ability, he's a man of status, he's reasonably attractive, he has power and money, right? And men that are, you don't have to even really be that attractive, but men that have status and money, resources, these kinds of things, they can afford that. They're the very vast minority of men, the very small portion of the population, but women react to that. And Aubrey Marcus is benefiting from those qualities that he possesses, that he's worked hard to achieve. And I guess what I want to make most of this presentation about is the reaction. And the reaction for many people in the spiritual communities. And the state of fantasy or delusion. I guess delusion is a strong word that gets overused these days, but the state of fantasy and lack of reality that is in a lot of the spiritual communities. That I've really seen some men, but mostly a lot of the supposedly wise women in the spiritual community present these reactions to Aubrey doing what men have done for all of history. Not take advantage of women, not trap women or hypnotize them or manipulate them, but merely achieve various impressive things that women are attracted to and are willing to make compromises for. Many of the ladies that have responded have called him names like narcissist. I think probably I heard psychopath at some point, false guru, manipulator, predator. All of these kinds of nasty names have been directed towards him. And beyond the name calling, there's venom in the responses from a lot of these women. And it's one thing if it's, you know, a woman on social media and her brand is to kind of be man-hating and like an ultra-feminist or something like that. I mean, that's kind of to be expected from that particular type of influencer or presenter on social media. But if you're supposed to be wise, if you're supposed to be evolved, if you're a woman who also likes men and wants to be in romantic relationships with men, then there needs to be some kind of basis of reality of what men are, who they are, what drives them, and also what women reward and react to. Not what women say as much as what women do, which is a difficult conflict for a lot of women, it appears. There is a desire to build empire for some men. There's a desire to create and leave legacy for most men. But really, the primary central drive for men is to achieve and secure sex, and eventually that grows into the desire to have children and create a family. But they're connected. They're just different stages of the same basic drive. Framing Aubrey as this manipulative predator who's hypnotized these two women is first of all insulting to him. He's come out at great risk to his brand. It's also disrespectful, condescending to imply or outright say that these women have had their free will compromised somehow, that they can't make their own decisions. I heard each of these women talk. His more long-term partner seems a little bit conflicted about it, but again, he has a lot to offer her. She has a career that is within the sort of influencer spiritual sphere, and Aubrey has had an established platform for much longer than her, and she can benefit from that. But she also seems to love him, right? She loves who he is as a man, the way he appears, and the kingdom that he's built, right? The kingdom that he's built. This king has two queens. And this is one of the conflicts that this podcast and the many responses that I've seen have brought up. Almost all of the responses have been negative in one form or another. I've only seen one response that actually was from a woman, someone who was actually displayed a great deal of wisdom, that was a little more balanced. It didn't just trash Aubrey as some horrible, typical evil patriarch of some kind. But unhealed women. I saw a lot of unhealed women that think of themselves, most likely, maybe even present themselves, brand themselves as wise, as a person that can give perspective, balance perspective, administer sage advice to other women. But there was so much hatred and such disrespect for Aubrey doing what men have done forever, and for these women who are making their own choices of their own free will. I see such a lack of perspective. It seems like there's many women out there that want to be a queen, want to be treated like a queen, but don't know how to treat a man like a king, don't know how to show respect to a king. They want the kingdom that the king brings, but they don't know how to actually behave in a way that deserves that kind of treatment. A king is one of the supreme symbols of a leader. And this seems to be something that is lacking in a lot of modern female perspectives, is how to follow a male leader, how to follow a king that if you treat him properly will treat you like a queen. Most men will. But it requires a trust for the decisions of that male leader. It requires a respect for him as he's taking actions to lead in the world, to not make him look goofy, to not second guess every decision that he makes, and have confidence that that man has everyone's best interest at heart, wife's best interest at heart, and the children in a family. That trust and respect seems to be lacking. There is a reflex anytime a man is dominant, leads, is powerful, to try to tear him down. It's the sort of poison that's running through our culture with the word, the concept of a patriarch, which all a patriarch is essentially a father or a male leader of a family. The patriarchy, capital P, is it's a poisonous concept, and it's created, I think, a conflict for a lot of women where they want a masculine man to some degree. They want a male to lead the family. They definitely want some, if not all, of their worldly needs to be provided for by a man, but they don't want to treat that man like a leader. They don't want to respect him and follow his lead. It's not about just letting a man lead when it's convenient or when there's nothing at stake. It's about having that love and trust deep within yourself to follow the lead of the man, even when you're unsure, even when you can't see the outcome, or the man is not able to explain everything to you at every moment about why he's making those decisions. So there's so many men out there that really don't even necessarily want to be a king, but they definitely want to lead. They want to provide, they want to protect. And there's many women out there that would like to receive that, even if they can't say it out loud. It's a deep instinct in most women. But that has to be deserved. To have all that given to you, to have all that provided, that has to be deserved. Not with what you say, but with what you do. And so I suppose that I wasn't surprised with the almost completely negative set of responses that this podcast received from all the videos that I saw. I wasn't surprised at that. That was expected. I rolled my eyes during the podcast. I probably groaned out loud when I was watching it on the streetcar a few times. But it does bring into focus what women want, what they react to, and what drives men. We all need to be a little bit more realistic about what a man is, what a woman is, and what we really desire deep down. Underneath all the words, underneath the posturing, underneath the virtue signals and cultural displays. What do we really want? And why do we deserve that? So Aubrey is living the dream of many men. Sex and even relationship with multiple women. Sex is a basic need, a central drive for men. And it's deep, it's instinctual. Aubrey is in a position, he's created a kingdom that can accommodate multiple queens. It's honestly, it appears, what he wants, what he's worked for, and at this point, what he's achieved. Is it sustainable for him? I don't know. I'm not so sure. Is it good advice for most men? I don't think so. As much as most men desire sex and even relationship with multiple women, splitting your energy, your time in multiple directions, like I said, not very sustainable. Maybe not the most stable relationship style for society at large. We'll see how it turns out for him. He's found two queens that are willing to follow his lead. And I wish him and his two ladies luck, working it out, staying together, and eventually bringing children into the world. Again, like I said, probably not the answer for most men, probably not the best way to create a society and populate the world, but each to their own. He's not doing anything wrong. As misguided as his advice or his branding and labeling might be, it is what it is, and he doesn't deserve all this hate, though it's understandable that it triggers a lot of people. I really wish all of these spiritual ladies and some of the spiritual guys that have gotten triggered, I wish them healing and perspective. We are more similar than different, all of us. We all do have masculine and feminine energies within us, but the biggest difference at every level, mental, physical, and spiritual, the biggest difference between human beings is men and women, masculine and feminine bodies manifest. And it affects all aspects of the human being. I'm a man, I was born a man. I have feminine within me. If you're a woman watching this, you have masculine within you. But men and women just think and move differently, react differently, have different drives. One man, one woman is how it's always been for human connection. It's difficult. It requires a lot of sacrifice. You won't always be attracted to the person for periods of time. You won't always get along with them. You won't always agree with them. Maintaining a long-term monogamous relationship, especially these days when there's so many temptations of different kinds, so many ways to connect to anybody across the world that might draw you away and tempt you to engage with someone sexually and romantically, it's harder than ever to be monogamous. But over the many years, it can lead to multiple generations springing forth from stable households. And I think that's what we all want. Less people are getting into relationships of any kind, less people are having sex these days, and less people are having babies than any other time, probably in my life at least. And something needs to change. The way that men see women is changing, the way that women see men has already changed in recent generations, and we need to reorient ourselves. Come back to center a little bit, be a little more balanced. Take some of those truths of history and how men and women interacted, some of those traditional realities of man plus woman equals new person, and respect them and bring them forward into the light of this future. So good luck with your relationships, good luck finding a lover, a partner, producing children, and good luck with that relationship with the one person that will always be with you, which is yourself. And we'll see what the future holds. Maybe Aubrey will come back and have another podcast with a wider panel of people to comment on his radical theories of new relationship styles, and maybe that will push the conversation forward. Will we see some evolution on that front? Who knows? Will it damage his brand irrevocably? I hope not. But I do hope in the long run it stimulates some perspective and a way for us to find our way back to each other. So, thank you and goodbye.